Alright, cool. So, stuff for today. The first thing I want you to do is just like recognize where your roots are in your first patterns, the thing you guys were doing on your own already. There's only there's 3 of them where there's an A and a C. Like the main box, totally. They're just the first 2 notes you hit. A minor, C major. Behind the box, it's here. You're just going on playing A and C, A and C, A and C, A and C. So, like, hey, whatever. If I wanted to do that in some other key, like B, which is just 2 frets higher, it would still go, here's the main box, and here's this other box behind it. And that's like, sure, totally, because all I did was move 2 frets. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of like a major disconnect here, is like, it totally does go that way. Yeah. If you picked any of these fingerings and randomly played it at some fret, the answer would still be like the same exact place, just like moving the main box around. No big deal. It's just because those are easy to find. Yeah. Versus this one 3 in a row, that's where the answer is. Mm-hmm. When I was playing in A minor, if I played some random fret, play the number 3 one that you do at the 10th fret. In this case, I'm playing in E. That's the note E. So, or if I played it here, in D. So really, so first and foremost, like, randomize your A fingerings. We talked about random number. Just Google random number generator 1 through 5, and it'll just be like random number generator 1 through 5. Roll a die, write 1 through 5 on some pieces of paper. But you actually have to do that, otherwise there's going to be patterns in your head, even if you think you're randomizing, you're going to tend to do one thing or another thing. Yeah. And what we're just trying to drill is like, there exists this hand movement that makes me think about pointing to this place or these places. Like I'm saying, it's just like just starting at the top of the neck in the key we're comfortable in. It's like I'm behind the box, pattern 5, A and C, A and C. I'm main box, A and C, A and C. I'm number 2. Not really a good A. And then you guys have been thinking about this one. Yeah. But pretty much it's just like C, and then a lot of if you've got that drilled already, no problem. Just when you play this, we don't often start with notes in that register. But also, you're going to play box 1 800% more of the time than you play box 2 when you're playing pentatonic stuff. So, yeah, we were just like, I'm playing my main box. I'm playing the one that you were doing this way that we had a fingering correction on. Doesn't really matter that much. If you practice it that way, it's pretty legit, no problem. Yeah. And there the answer is just like C or A. And if I was to pick some random fret and do that same shit, it'd be G and G. Everything is everything. So that brings us to the one that you seem to forget most, which is the third one, like 1, 2, 3, where it's 3 in a row, the same thing. Yeah. And there's the state capital. So you're doing plan point this week. You're going, this exists, and it's in that key. Just thinking about the hand movement. And then lastly, you're going number 4, just like 6 string and 4 string exists, which is the same as the. And you do want to use your pinky there. Yeah. And across the board, which we were talking about, it's really just a matter of moving your entire arm up there. The frets are closer together there, not farther apart. Yeah. So if you're standing, maybe this wouldn't be as big a deal, but it's just your thumb positioning. If you just kind of, if you started at the 5th fret and then really slowly moved your entire arm up there, you do move across your body, which is awkward, but it's, the frets, it's easier to reach that at the 12th fret. Yeah. Totally, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, we have room, we've got to cut away. Anyway, so we were just like playing exactly the fingerings at exactly the key you learned and at exactly the frets you learned it, and then pointing afterwards, just kind of thinking about these state capitals in each one, with the understanding that you can move these around. Not just, it's easy to go like, how would I play the main box in G? You're like, well, duh, I just start on G and play the same shit. All of these are that exact same concept. It's just not always there's the thing we're looking for. So just first stop now in your practice and do the plan point. for each one of them. If you find you're having trouble with one fingering, do it a bunch of times and not in turbo mode, but making sure you're consciously interacting with it. Because oh yeah, I remember that, and then starting to go like that, it's going into the headspace where you're not actually focusing on it. And I just mean like 5 times or whatever of going, okay, yeah, this one. Cool. So there's first thing just in home base key, and you guys were already doing this project, basically just going like, there's the root. Yeah. And the concept what you're going to absorb is that everything works that way. You can move, you can move anything anywhere. If I was like, I'm going to play the F minor pentatonic one, it's just start on F. Play that same shit. The second one is still out in front of it the same way. Third one's still out in front of that one. Everything is everything. So just, you're really good at playing point now in A minor or C major, and you've done your randomization thing. Which, whatever, like seriously, just, random number, I'll send you a link to it, I'll cheat and just be like random number generator, 1 through 5, then you just click that motherfucker. Okay. Or roll a die and 6 doesn't count. And the goal is just to get each one to solidify as like there exists this hand movement. I know it makes me think I'm not pointing here. Then before we worry about how to play it in every key, we're just going to learn a secondary key where everything still fits together the same way. There won't be any keys where the number 1 box doesn't have the number 2 right in front of it. That's just the nature of our instrument. Are you confused about what I just said?
No.
Okay, cool.
I'm listening.
Oh, no, cool. I'm just making sure it's all good. So we're choosing E minor G, A, because it's a useful key that we play in a bunch, and because shit's in radically different parts of the fretboard. Let's just start with the main box, as you picture it, is all the way up to the 12th fret, with behind the box right there. So then just starting back down here, we've got the number 2 one's out in front of it the same way. Yeah. And the number 3 one's out in front of that the same way. And then then we get to the behind the box one. And then we're back to main box. So that's what's up, and the goal being like, having played in this key, which is E minor, if it was like, now it's time to play in D minor, just moving back 2 frets would be a lot easier than if I asked you to play in, a radically different key. So yeah, we've done one where this part was here, the main box was like right here, and we've done one where it was here, and in E minor, the ones that are up here are going to be right in the middle of the fretboard. Like the 4 box, this one where I'm saying fuck the bass string, is at the 7th fret. There's E. There's G. Cool. So yeah, it's just resist the temptation to play the C fingering. Just has nothing to do. We're playing in a different key now, but you're still just using the same hand movements. Yeah. And again, when you do this at home, you'll have already done the A stuff. Yeah. Cool. So great. So play in point. So learn that secondary key, which I guess I'll write out, and just do the same play in points, the same exact thing. It's never going to go, I play the second fingering and point anywhere other than here. If I pick some random ass fret and play that, turns out that's what key I was just playing in. That's the nature of our instrument. So yeah, it's the first one. The second one, here's G. My bad. And then the third one's right adjacent to that. We're in A minor G, so it's at the 5th fret. Cool. And then we get to fingering 4, which is a lot more useful in this key than it is all the way up at the 12th fret, where we're like, here's E. And then while we're at it, thinking about the 4th string afterwards, because when you play this fingering, it's always going to start with or, and then you can totally go or whatever. But yeah, we're thinking of it as there's where this is how I figure out how to play this. Cool. And then out in front of, then just going back to how we started, here's your main box, here's behind the box. So that's what's up. We don't have a behind the box for our very first spot on the fretboard because we run out of room. So it's like 1, 2, 3 at the 5th fret, 4 at the 7th fret, then behind the box at the 10th fret, and then back to your main box at the 12th fret. So yeah, we're playing E minor, G major.
Okay.
Or just if you want to think E minor and G major secondarily, that's cool. So yeah, learn those two, and maybe we'll just make the assignment actually this time just doing that and hammering home the and this is what key I am in part. Because yeah, so let's just do that and including the part
E minor, G major.
Yeah, and the goal is that like, and I will sketch it out really quick for you, but the concept is like you just learned where like we're saying this fingering's in a radically different part of the fretboard. So right now we're good at playing in A minor. So if someone was like playing B minor, you'd be like, cool, just 2 frets higher. But if I was like playing F or whatever, it would get kind of confusing. Yeah. Whereas having learned to do it in E, if I was like play F, you'd just be like 1 fret, no big deal. So that's what's up. We're just starting to be able to do, and I can play all this shit everywhere. So the thing we really want to absorb is that it really does go playing point. Like the first box is obvious. It's like the first 2 notes, but then like the 4th one, or the 2nd one, any of them. If I pick some random ass fret, play that. Those are going to be an E, G.
Yeah, okay.
So it totally does work that way. Same fingering, same hand movement. The only exception is when you get to open position and run out of open strings. While we're at it, you want to do that one both this way and this way. Because sometimes you want to be able to do it starting with your ring finger on the bass too, because sometimes you might want to hit a 1st fret note.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. We don't know which ones to hit yet. It's all good. And then the only other thing we did was looking at there exists the major scale, like, or the C major scale. And again, the key you just learned is A minor, C major, not just like A in general. So that's right on top of your number 2 correct math fingering box. So, anytime you're playing that one, you can start throwing those notes in. But either way, just, hey, the major scale exists. And it's the same exact movement here, starting on this C. It's the same exact.
That's the C major, right?
Yeah, so then starting on C on this string, same exact shit.
Oh. Well, yeah.
Yeah, totally. And you're going to be doing a 4-finger when you actually play it. Starting with your middle finger.
Okay.
Just like the same correction we're making.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But it's cool. In the long run, it's just you and the dots, and you'll do the thing you're doing right now, favoring strong fingers plenty, like if you wanted to play this or whatever, but then when it comes to playing fast, there's no other way but the set fingering to really turbo through it. Cool, so, that's right underneath our behind the box fingering.
Yeah.
So just for starters, it's like the major scale exists, and that's right on top of it. So anytime you're playing one, you can play the other, and there's a corresponding thing for everywhere else on the fretboard, but mostly just, hey, the major scale exists, and just re-emphasizing that these patterns we learned are A minor / C major.
Okay.
Any of them, whatever note you start on, though if it's a song in A, you're mostly going to have to start with A. If it's a song in C major, you're mostly going to have to start with C, but then you just hit all the same dots and everything works. So, it's sofa couch. And that just means playing these fingerings at exactly the frets you learn them works in the following contexts. Songs in A minor, songs in C major, the end. And also heavy stuff in A. The minor pentatonic will work better than the major pentatonic. Totally heavy thing in C, go ahead and try the C minor pentatonic, because it's a lot of colorless stuff that doesn't specify. And then just fuck around with the concept after you've done this, that you can move them to any fret, and it's still just hand movement. I'm in this key. So that's why we did these looking marks in the first place, was so that we could do stuff like this. The goal is you can just start anything anywhere, you're playing some song in C or whatever, and all of a sudden it switches to E minor. Just going, there's E. Okay, I'll play the third fingering, and then here's the sound from it and stuff. But anyway, so just all secondary key, play and point, play and point. Good shit.
Okay.